Welcome to Dawn of the New Earth. Today we are taking at the UFO or UAP congressional hearing that they just had about 5 days ago, where they discussed the truth about UFOs or UAPs. And this, again, it only happened about 5 years ago, 5 years. Yeah, 5 days ago, but I haven't been seeing too many people talk about this, which is interesting. I mean, there's been a lot of crazy political upheaval lately, so people are very distracted, but I think that this is incredibly interesting and something that we need to talk about. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. We are going to be taking a look at some of the highlights of the recent UFO or UAP hearing. And for those who don't know, by the way, UAP, it just stands for Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena. So it's basically the same thing as UFO. It's just a broader category. It includes UFOs within it. It's just, instead of a flying object, it's anomalous phenomena because it's a wider, a more general, all-encompassing term. Anyway, we're going to be doing this now. The hearing is 2.5 hours long, so we're not going to be taking a look at the entire hearing, but we are going to be looking at some highlights of it. And that's what we're going to be doing right now. We're just going to jump right into it. Now, these highlights, I did scan them really quick to see if this is something I wanted to talk about. And I just said, okay, yeah, let's talk about it. But I didn't, go into this in a lot of detail. So I'm really going to be hearing a lot of this stuff for the first time with you guys. Like I said, I skimmed it quick, but I didn't really, pay extreme attention to it because I wanted to see it more live with you guys. So let's do that. We're going to do that right now. Let's bring up the video on screen and hopefully you guys will be able to see this. There we go. Let's make it full screen and let's begin.
Some of the testimony you will hear them deliver today does not reflect well on influential individuals and agencies within the U.S. federal government and perhaps some of our contractors.
Welcome.
Okay, so essentially, the individual is just saying that this is not going to be reflecting well on some of the policies of the U.S. government with regard to these UAPs. And so last year, this was, I believe it was last year, this was with David Grush, and who has some high position in the government, I believe, and 2 pilots, I think. These are completely different people. These are not the same people as in last year's congressional hearing. These are completely different individuals. And I'm actually not too familiar with who these people are. If someone in the chat, by the way, if someone in the chat knows who these people are, let me know, because that would be helpful to know, are they someone high up in the government? Are they just, are they some just UFO expert or whatever? I don't know. If someone knows, let me know. So let's see. Yeah, okay, let's keep going.
To Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the most noteworthy moments from this historic congressional hearing, the results of which may see the
names are on the desk. I know the names are on the desk, but I don't know who I don't know who Mr. Schellenberger is, or Mr. Gold, or Mr. Elizondo. That doesn't tell. I know the names are on the desk, but I don't know what their position. I don't know who they are. I know, yes. Thank you.
American government open up about extraterrestrial activities.
Aero and the Pentagon have broken the law by not revealing a significant body of information about UAPs, including military intelligence databases that have evidence of their existence as physical craft.
Number 10, Nancy Mace blasts the Department of Defense.
Non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. This interaction is not new, and it's been ongoing, and there are unelected people in the government that are aware of that.
Spearheaded by the Committee on Oversight and Accountability, the November 13th, 2024 hearing on UAPs, entitled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, Exposing the Truth, got off to a fiery start, courtesy of outspoken Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace of South Carolina.
No amount of outside pressure would ever keep me from pursuing a subject to ground, come hell or high water.
Interesting.
On that score, I want to thank our witnesses for being here. I
mean, I do appreciate the fact that they are taking this seriously, because and that's something I wanted to say. I know I said this earlier in the live stream, but for the replay here, when we approach these topics, we want to be skeptical, but we also want to be open-minded as well. We don't want to automatically be like, oh yes, everything they're saying is absolutely true. Aliens are invading. And we also don't want to be closed-minded and think, oh no, aliens couldn't possibly exist. We want to be analytical, rational, and logical, have an open mind, but not so open that our brains fall out. And so my position on this, by the way, is what I think is, and I know a lot of you know this already, is I believe that if this is indeed true, which it seems like there is definitely something going on. There's enough people in high levels of government discussing it, and it seems like something's going on. I would be inclined to think this has to do with interdimensional beings rather than what Hollywood typically depicts as aliens on spacecraft and laser guns. I would think this has more to do with interdimensional beings. And I know that David Grush in the congressional hearing a year ago mentioned the possibility that they could be interdimensional beings or beings that we don't understand in the typical way that we understand typically entities to exist in terms of physics. So Spectral says extra-dimensional beings coming through a portal on the ocean floor. So I don't think we're in this particular highlight that we're watching. I don't think we get to this part, but I did see another clip where they did allude. I think someone asked, is it because they keep seeing these UAPs near the water, over the water? Not all of them, but there's quite a lot that are over the water. And I think some of them suggested, well, is it possible that they could be coming from underneath the ocean? And they said, well, yes, that's a possibility, I'm pretty sure was the response to that. And that makes a lot of sense because we have only discovered 5% of the ocean. Think about that. That's insane. We've only discovered 5% of the ocean. So if you wanted to remain undetected, that would be a very intelligent, rational, almost obvious thing to do. So anyway, let's continue here.
We have before us a panel of individuals accomplished in the military, in civilian government, in science, and in journalism.
True to the committee's goals and intentions, Mace explained that the hearing had been convened in the interest of transparency to taxpayers. Specifically, Representative Mace addressed the need for results, whether they identify the cause and true nature of UAPs or yield nothing at all.
Well, see, I think that's good. I like this. Where essentially the point is, hey, there just needs to be transparency. Whether this transparency results in information about UAPs or not is really not the point. The point is we should have the data available to us so we can have a more of an idea and understanding of what's going on. Because something weird is going on. The Pentagon is not letting people know about, they constantly talk about how a lot of these projects are covered up. So I think that that's a very rational position to have, as long as hey, just be transparent so we know what's happening, whether there is something there or there isn't.
In perhaps her boldest moment, Mace noted that the Pentagon, quote, has failed 6 consecutive audits and that it had never successfully passed one.
Adding to this is a runaway overclassification of documents and materials, a reluctance to declassify materials when appropriate, and at times an outright refusal to share critical information with Congress.
Number 9.
Can I just say, I'm assuming this individual speaks into a microphone a lot. She needs to work on her plosives. The not liking that. Anyway, okay, so this is Luis Elizondo. I want to know who this person is. Let me just look up this person. How do I say? Let's say Luis Elizondo. Let's see who this is so that we can have a better idea of where this information is coming from. Luis Elizondo is a media personality. Okay, let's see. Luis Elizondo is a media personality and author formerly employed by the United States Army Counterintelligence and the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence. According to Elizondo, he was director of the now defunct Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, which was associated with the Pentagon UFO videos. Elizondo's statements about his Pentagon's role with AATIP have been contested by Pentagon officials. Since 2017, he has claimed there is a government conspiracy to suppress evidence that UFOs are of extraterrestrial origin. Okay, interesting. So he's a media personality and author. He writes books, or a book at least. He was formerly employed by the U.S. Counterintelligence and Defense for Intelligence. And his claims have been contested by the Pentagon. Well, of course they would be contested by the Pentagon. Okay, so this is interesting. This isn't just some random guy that had this idea in his basement or something. This is someone with seemingly very high credentials. So that's good to know. That's always good to know. Like I said, this isn't something that I have researched in depth. I am kind of in real time watching this with you guys. And I always want to point that out, guys. Please, pretty please, always do your research. I see so many people that just like when articles come out, they'll just read the headlines and think that it's true. And oftentimes the headlines are completely opposite as to what the content actually is. So yeah, I just see the amount of misinformation that I see is staggering and mind blowing. So yeah, always check it out. But this guy seems like, hey, he's got, he does have some impressive credentials. So let's see what Luis has to say. Or is it Luis? I don't know.
Luis Elizondo's explosive testimony.
Let me be clear. UAP are real. Advanced technologies not made by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe. Furthermore, the U.S. is in possession of UAP technologies, as are some of our adversaries.
Author and media personality Elizondo held nothing back during his...
And this would make sense to me as well. Again, thinking about if this is true or not, because there's also been stories about UAPs being found around like nuclear sites. And there's also been stories about them. I think there's like a certain Russian story about them disabling a Russian nuclear facility or something like that. Again, do we know this is true or not? I don't know, but it's a report I think that exists. And it's interesting because, this would fall in line with what interdimensional beings would be interested in. And interdimensional beings likely don't want us to blow ourselves up. They are probably interested in us for, in my opinion, utilizing, okay, so without getting into a very long discussion on what my ideas are with regard to this, so I believe that there are higher beings that exist in what I term CFDs or collective frequency domains. And it is my opinion that some of these beings have ill intent and essentially wish to incorporate humanity into a slave framework, and so are interested in pushing humanity's consciousness towards a mindset that would be accepting of a slave framework, a negative hierarchical system. I also believe that there are collective consciousnesses out there that likely have positive intentions towards us and want to see us grow and evolve and transform and reach higher states of consciousness and higher states of being ourselves. My point being is, if this is all true, I don't think that aliens or interdimensional beings want us to be wiped out. It's kind of like growing a crop. If you're growing and this is often termed as harvest, like in the Law of One, they call it harvest. So if you're growing a crop, you don't want it to all get burned down, or else you're going to have to start all over again. So yeah, interesting. This, very, very interesting. I'm just looking at the comments here. They are interested in the absolute. I think some of them would like to, yes, actualize the absolute. Which White Witch says, I think the same thing. Nice. Josephine says, by power plants. All right, let's continue.
His testimony. This probably wasn't all that surprising to those who have followed his career. The self-described former Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program Director has, since at least 2017, been vocal about what he claims is a wide-ranging government conspiracy.
I believe we are in the midst of a multi-decade secretive arms race, one funded by misallocated taxpayer dollars and hidden from our elected representatives and oversight bodies.
That would be to keep the public in the dark about UAPs, and particularly their possible extraterrestrial origins. Although Elizondo's statement was by far the briefest of the men called to testify in front of Congress, it's hard to argue that it packed the biggest punch. Elizondo openly accused a small cadre within our own government of creating a culture of suppression and intimidation over the topic.
What did someone said? Shutting down silos. DB says they've been known to derail nukes countless times, even shutting down silos. Someone else said, I have heard about that. Yeah, interesting. It would make it fits very well. We always want to be skeptical about this stuff, but it fits well.
To the incoming administration and Congress, I say to you, we need immediate public transparency, and this hearing is an important step on that journey. If we approach the UAP topic in the same way as we, as Americans, have met other challenges, we can restore our faith in our government institutions.
Number 8.
Why do they not have better microphones? They clearly use lots of microphones every day. They need to have better microphones. Anyway, interesting. I'm completely on board with more transparency. You know my stance on transparency, which is why I always say be very careful with secret societies and stuff, because when you don't have transparency, it leaves a lot of room for coercion and abuse, and there's no accountability, etc. So yeah, I'm definitely down for transparency.
A mysterious white orb over Kuwait.
And since my reporting on this Immaculate Constellation last month, another source came forward who told me that they saw a roughly 13-minute long, high-definition, full-color video of a white orb UAP coming out of the ocean approximately 20 miles off the coast of Kuwait.
Michael Schellenberger.
Okay, so interesting. Again, having to do with the ocean, seeing a white orb. Now, this video that they're showing right here, I remember I skimmed through this real quick. I think that they doctored this. I don't think that this is an actual. I think that they took the Tic Tac video and made it glow. Anyway, I don't think this is a real.
Testimony expressed the invite.
If anyone knows otherwise in the comments, let me know. But I think that this video, is real, but it doesn't glow like that. I think that they added that glow to it. I don't think that this is real. I think it's doctored.
Environmental journalists' belief that there is, quote, a growing body of evidence that the government is not being.
Yeah, I think this is the Tic Tac video, so it does move like that, but it's not. As far as I know, it doesn't glow like that. I think they made it like that to be dramatic.
Transparent about what it knows about unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP, formerly called UFOs.
It was filmed from a helicopter.
And I think that the video that Mr. Schellenberger is talking about is different from what they just showed. I don't think that we have the video that Mr. Schellenberger is talking about. So I just want to be clear so no one's confused. They showed a video of a different UAP and they made it glow, as far as I know. Crystal says, how can they be transparent doctoring stuff? I think it's this YouTube channel that did it. I think Watch Mojo did it. I don't think it was them. Yeah, it would be nice to see it. I agree, DB. So let's see who this. Let's see who this person is. Mr. Schellenberger. Mark says it's Michael. Oh, nice. Michael says, or Mark. Mark says he's former founder of Public and Organized Folk. Well, let me. So it's Michael Schellenberger. Michael Schellenberger is a professor, author, and journalist. I don't see anything. So Mark saying, it seems like that he has a negative view on global warming or climate change. He is active in critiquing the environmental movement, offering alternative views on climate threats, and advocates for the use of. I don't know anything about this guy. He seems to have certainly less, just based on his background, less credibility than Elizondo. I don't see how he's a professor, author, and journalist. Oh, Mark says his testimony aims to shed light on the need for greater government openness and findings. Okay, and public trust. Okay, I mean that's good. I'm for that. I don't see any it's not like he was former US government or anything like that as far as I see here. He won a journalism award. Okay. So personally, Mr. Elizondo right away seems like he's got some good credibility, just off the cuff based on certain things. I'd be a little, I want to know more about Mr. Schellenberger. There's a couple things in here that seem a little weird that I'm reading about in his bio. Some of his views seem a little iffy. But I don't know. I don't have enough time right here to go deep in there. So anyway, I would say Mr. Elizondo seems to have good credits. Mr. Schellenberger, a little iffier. I want to know more about him. But anyway, let's see what he has to say. Again, transparency is always good. So he's advocating for transparency. Great.
Then halfway through the video,
Serengate says, "Is this the end of religion if aliens are acknowledged?" No. Why would that be the? Well, it depends what you mean by religion. Depends what you mean by religion. I guess you mean like organized mainstream religion. I mean, nah, that's still gonna exist. They'll find ways to explain that away, I'm sure. All right, let's see.
the person said the orb is joined by another orb that briefly comes into the frame from the left before rapidly moving again out of the frame.
To his point, Schellenberger.
Okay, I'm going to rewind that for a minute because this guy's just a journalist, right? He's not part of the military. So how did he see this video? I want to hear again if they explain
what it knows about unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP, formerly called UFOs.
It was filmed from a helicopter. Then halfway through the video, the person said the orb is joined by another orb that...
Okay, so what I think, is that he is reading an account of someone who either saw it directly or saw the video of it. I don't think that he's seen the video of it. Could be wrong, but I think that that's I think he's reading an account of someone who either saw it firsthand or saw the video of it.
Briefly comes into the frame from the left before rapidly moving again out of the frame.
To his point, Schellenberger shared several examples from a whistleblower's report that described several confounding military encounters.
Okay, so he's describing whistleblowers' reports. That's good to know. So it's not coming from him firsthand. And that's fine. He's describing whistleblowers' reports. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just good to know where the info's coming from.
With supposed UAPs. Most notably of all, Schellenberger revealed that he had been informed of a, quote, 3-minute-long, high-definition, full-color video of a white orb UAP coming out of the ocean approximately 20 miles off the coast of Kuwait, end quote, declining to name his source.
The person discovered the video on SIPR, the Secure Internet Protocol Router Network, which the DoD uses to transmit classified information.
Number 7. Representative Lauren Boebert takes a jab at President Biden.
Now that we have all been cautioned.
Oh, God. Okay. Just heads up here. I did, again, remember I skimmed through this. This has nothing to do with the UFO or UAP hearing at all. It's about Biden and Trump, and it's really annoying. And I guess we could skip it, but I guess I'll play it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about Trump and Biden. I want to talk about UAP. We can talk about Trump and Biden another day. Some other day, maybe we can talk about it. Today, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about UFOs and UAPs. But I guess, what do you guys want to, should we skip this or you guys want to watch it? What do you think? What do you want to do? Susan says skip. You guys are saying skip. Aliens over. Aliens only. Skip. Everyone in the chat is saying skip. Someone says don't skip. Skip. No, let's not skip. Just skip. Here, let me do a poll. Let's poll. Where's poll? Where's the poll? Here's poll. Let's do poll. Quick poll. 30-second poll. Skip. Yes. No. All right. Let's see. Lee says we have to be mentally strong. We can withstand it. I'm letting you guys decide. It's up to you, chat. It's in your hands what we shall do from here. Shall we skip or shall we not? This is democracy at work. So Bellatrix says raffle. Remember, at the end of the stream, we're doing a giveaway for my audiobook. Yeah. Oh, brief commercial intermission. Yeah, we're doing a giveaway for my book, Neogenesis Dawn of the New Mind, at the end of the stream, so make sure you stick around for that. And my new book, Psychogenesis, comes out in a few days on Thursday, so check out the links in the comments for there. Okay, so I believe that skip has won out. Roughly 70% have said to skip, so we shall skip. We shall skip Bobert's words. So let's see, when does she stop? There, right about here, I think. Okay.
Correct.
Number 6. Elizondo doesn't rule out the possibility of aliens.
Okay, Mr. Elizondo, you state in your testimony that, quote, advanced technologies not by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe, end quote. If these technologies are not made by any government, who's making them? Private companies, or are you implying they are crafted by a non-human intelligence?
Luis Elizondo's 2024 memoir, Imminent, Inside the Pentagon's Hunt for UFOs, was an instant smash hit, debuting at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. Elizondo's book details seemingly unbelievable accounts of extraterrestrial activity on U.S. soil, as well as clandestine government efforts to cover it up.
Are these private companies you're implying, or is this non-human intelligence?
It may be both.
Okay.
When it comes
So that's interesting. So basically, the idea here is that Elizondo is saying it is not our government and it is not any foreign government. It's not a government thing in any case, ours or foreign. However, she says, is it alien or is it private, like a private company? And he said it could be both. So that is interesting. He's saying it could be alien, but he's also saying that it could be a privately built, some non-government entity that has built them. So it's interesting that he's not right away saying, no way, it couldn't be private. It has to be extraterrestrial. But I don't see how any sort of private company could create something like this. Based on the videos that we have and the testimony that we have, it doesn't seem like something that we would have the technology for. Like David Grush in last year's congressional hearing said that it is beyond our understanding of physics. So anyway, let's continue here. And it's interesting to note, though, that he said that.
to Blue Force Technologies, I would not be able to discuss.
Okay. Are you read into secret UAP crash retrieval programs?
We would have to have a conversation in a closed session, ma'am.
Testifying before Congress?
I don't know. That's just funny to me. Are you part of a secret thing? Did you do secret things? Well, he can't probably tell you if they're secret things. Interesting.
Elizondo claimed that a previously signed document limited his ability to speak publicly about UAPs, and that the material covered in Imminent represents what he...
Hannah says Grush is not a physicist. Yes, you're absolutely right. Grush is not a physicist. So he would not be an expert in saying whether something is beyond the laws of physics or not. But I'm just... No, that's a good point. You're right. Grush is not a physicist. It's just a comment that Grush made.
He is legally permitted to discuss. As such, Elizondo stated unequivocally that the U.S. government has been involved in UAP crash retrieval operations, and that the search for alien life...
DB says, when they say I have to say it in a closed setting, doesn't that mean yes? Maybe. I don't know. Depends. You'd think it leans more towards that, right? It definitely feels that way. Because if the answer was no, he could just say no. Or maybe he just wants to sell more of his books. Maybe them. I don't think that's true. But you never know. You never know. People are crazy. It's possible. But yeah, I would be inclined to agree with you that when they say that, it leans more towards that the answer is yes.
Life definitely had an impact.
I submitted for my book through the DOPSR process, which took a year for it to be reviewed. And what is in the book is what I was told I'm allowed to talk about.
Has the government conducted secret UAP crash retrieval programs, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, were they designed to identify and reverse engineer alien craft, yes or no?
Yes.
Number 5.
Well, those are some pretty strong direct yeses. Yes, they had a UAP crash retrieval system project. And yes, it was to, what was it? It was to,
UAP crash retrieval programs, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, were they designed to identify and reverse engineer
reverse engineer. Interesting. Reverse engineer. Interesting.
alien craft, yes or no?
Yes.
Number 5, Immaculate Constellation.
Representative Luna just told me if I say Immaculate Constellation, I'll be on some list. Maybe a FISA warrant, so come at me, bro, I guess. But without objection, entered in the record.
See?
I haven't heard "come at me, bro" in a long time. That's so 2017, isn't it? I haven't heard that one in a while. Cool story, bro.
We told you we were
She's gonna dab, I feel like, next. Okay.
getting there. Perhaps the most mysterious aspect of the much-anticipated congressional hearing. Multiple participants in exposing the truth semi-seriously remarked that simply mentioning the existence of the top-secret government UAP research would get them, quote, put on a list. Schellenberger emerged as the main proponent of not only the program's existence, but of its potential dangers.
The report that was just shared with Congress says Immaculate Constellation serves as a central or parent USAP that consolidates observations of UAPs by both tasked and untasked collection platforms. Immaculate Constellation includes high-quality imagery intelligence and measurement and signature intelligence of UAPs, the whistleblower's report adds.
The author testified that, quote,
She's gonna plank next. She's gonna sing Oppa Gangnam Style. So Immaculate Conception. Is that no Constellation, not Conception? That would Immaculate Conception would be Jesus. Immaculate Constellation. I must say, what a great name. Whoever came up with that name, it's a good name. I like it. So what is it exactly? I mean, I know that they just said it, but oh man, this is a very long document. I should probably not be Googling this because I'm going to be on a list. Oh, this is a long. An internal devil refers to UAP encounters. I'm trying to get a very quick summary of what it is. I know he just said it, but I'd want a little more info. But there's a very, a PDF that's 11 pages long. I'm not going to look at that right now. I don't know. Let's just keep listening and see what he has to say.
Source warned that simply printing the name Immaculate Constellation could trigger government surveillance of me under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act.
Oh, damn, I just Googled it. I'm screwed. Oh no. Oh no.
FISA of whoever publishes it. As we mentioned earlier, Schellenberger declined to divulge the nature of any of his sources, but confirmed that they are either present or former U.S. government officials.
I think that what the American people need to know is that the U.S. military and intelligence community are sitting on a huge amount of visual and other information, still photos, video photos, other sensor information, and they have for a very long time. And it's not those fuzzy photos and videos that we've been given. There's very clear
High res.
high resolution.
Number 4, Michael Gold keeps it light.
The NASA brand is synonymous with hope, optimism, and credibility. If you were
Is there a knock on my door now? I know. They're gonna come take me away.
to take a walk down
Ooh, what tattoos is this guy in the back? Who's this guy in the back? What tattoos are that? What he's got those are those socks? Red socks. What's on his hand? I see some red socks. You guys in the chat, can you tell what this? It's got some red. I see red socks. I can't tell what the rest of the stuff is. And then he has is that little? Do you see the yellow candy? Does he have little yellow candies? Little yellow grandma candies? Some caramel butterscotch candies? All right. I don't know. Let's keep going. He's sitting next to Jeremy. Interesting. Okay. Oh, Jeremy Corbell. Is that who that is?
the National Mall, you would immediately see the NASA logo on T-shirts, hats, and bumper stickers. Few federal agencies enjoy this kind of popularity. I've never seen anyone wearing an Office of Personnel Management T-shirt.
In stark contrast to Elizondo and Schellenberger's testimonies, ex-NASA official Michael Gold struck a light, even occasionally humorous tone in his.
There's more coded language going on in this chat room than there is English. What do you mean coded language? Are we subliminally influencing you all, hypnotizing you right now?
Gold emphasized the instrumental roles that science and academia carry out in helping to shape our understanding of the world, and included the formal study of UAPs under that umbrella.
NASA could, with relatively little cost and effort.
Oh, did you see he just shifted his hands? Clearly he's part of a secret organization and is declaring his allegiance to them right now. Did you see that in the background? Oh, you must have missed that, but it's there. It's there. Pause it, rewind. You'll see. You'll see. Look, let's see. Ready? Ready?
The formal study
Ready?
of UAPs
Ready?
under that umbrella.
NASA could, with relatively little cost and effort.
Oh, he's signaling to the elites. Did you see that signal?
Host symposia on UAP, or even just participate in existing panels examining the topic. NASA
Oh my God, we're screwed. Did you see that one? That's a bad one. Holy shit.
personnel stepping forward and participating in such discussions would make a powerful statement to the scientific community that UAP should be taken seriously and researched accordingly.
For context,
I mean, I agree with all that. Yeah. I mean, so far they're just advocating for, hey, just be transparent. Let us know what's going on. And unless there's some very good reason, like, oh, if we did this, then foreign governments would somehow be able to, I don't know, have an edge on us because I don't know. Unless there's like some very good reason, which I doubt that there is, you know, some crazy. Yeah, transparency. Absolutely. 100%.
Gold has worked as NASA's former
What do you mean he's signaling? I'm kidding. He's not signaling anything. I'm kidding.
Associate Administrator of Space Policy and Partnerships, and is currently the Chief Growth Officer at Redwire, an aerospace manufacturer. It also seems important to note that while employed at NASA, Gold was a member of its independent UAP study team. In his testimony, Gold was optimistic.
What could possibly be a good reason for hiding something like that? Yeah, like I said, I can't really think of one off the top of my head. And you know, I just threw it out there like maybe, you know, if it had something to do with, I don't know, foreign governments knowing what we're up to and them. I don't know. I can't think of any good reason, but I'm also not a government official. But yeah, there should be transparency on, especially such an important issue like this. Like, you know, if this is indeed true, this is huge. So
About the part his former employer could play in combating the stigmatization of UAP research.
For relatively little cost and effort, NASA could create an AI or ML algorithm that could search the agency's archives for anomalous phenomena.
yeah, I agree. DB says, I don't know why they think we can't handle such big truths. Like it could change things for good. Yeah, I agree. That's the mentality that a lot of, you know, I see that a lot in you know, like secret societies and stuff like that as well. It's usually like, oh, people aren't ready for this. They can't handle this. We have to guide them because they're too dumb. I really dislike that attitude. Hey, if you think we're too dumb, why don't you try improving the education system? It's a good idea, right? Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, yeah, I don't like that mindset.
I suspect that such an effort would not only result in information that will help us to understand UAP, but could result in data that will assist in other areas of scientific inquiry, such as anomalous weather or meteorite activity.
Number 3, Timothy Gallaudet's disappearing email.
During this exercise, I received an email on Navy's secure network from...
Who's this guy? Dr. Gallaudet? Who is Dr. Gallaudet? Oh, it's not this guy. He is from like the 1700s. This is not the right Dr. Gallaudet. Former, is he a naval commander? Tim Gallaudet. Admiral of the U.S. Navy, retired, I think. There's not too much info on him. I think that he is a rear admiral of the U.S. Navy, retired. I think. It's a little hard to find info on him. Anyway, let's see what he has to say.
From the operations officer of U.S. Fleet Forces Command. The email is addressed to all the subordinate commanders, and the subject line read in all capital letters, "Urgent Safety of Flight Issue." The text of the email was brief but alarming, with words to the effect, "If any of you know what these are, tell me ASAP."
The former Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Oceans and Atmosphere under President Donald Trump is a well-known...
Why does that guy have his hands in his jacket? His hands must be very cold.
...member of the UFO community and a major proponent of declassifying UAP research in the interest of public awareness. Gallaudet's testimony painted an alarming picture of not only what UAPs may be capable of, but the dangers inherent in allowing for overprotective, overreaching government secrecy on the matter.
The now declassified video showed an unidentified object exhibiting flight and structural characteristics unlike anything in our arsenal. The implication of the email was clear.
Thank you, Mark.
The author was asking whether any of the recipients were aware of classified technology demonstrations that could explain these objects.
The retired Rear Admiral described his involvement with the Go Fast video, one of the most...
So this is the Tic Tac video.
...famous depictions of a UAP to date. Gallaudet testified that an email containing the video had been scrubbed from his account as well as the accounts of other officials to whom he'd spoken.
The very next day, that email disappeared from my account and those of the other recipients without explanation. Moreover, the commander of Fleet Forces Command and the operations officer never discussed the subject. Even during weekly meetings specifically designed to address issues affecting exercises like the one in which the Theodore Roosevelt Strike Group was participating.
Number 2, a commitment to destigmatizing UAP reporting.
Yeah.
Science requires data, which should be collected without bias or prejudice. Yet, when
I like. Oh, Mr. Gold. This isn't Luis Elizondo. We haven't heard too much from Mr. Gold, have we?
whenever the topic of UAP arises, those who wish to explore the phenomena are often confronted with resistance and
Okay, so who's Mr. Gold? Yeah, so removing stigma, I think that's great. Mr. Gold. I like his attitude so far. Mr. Gold, UAP hearing. What a cool name too, Mr. Gold. Who is Michael Gold? Ex-NASA official. Michael Gold is an ex-NASA official. Interesting. Okay. Cool.
ridicule.
While the content of its testimonies varied significantly, one theme was a constant presence throughout unidentified anomalous phenomena exposing the truth, and it could even be described as its goal. That theme? The fact that Americans should never fear the consequences of speaking out in service of what they feel is right.
Agreed.
Equally concerning, last year's UAP hearing also revealed that elements of the government are engaged in a disinformation campaign to include personal attacks designed to discredit UAP whistleblowers. Having never signed a non-disclosure agreement regarding UAPs, and now as a private citizen, I've become an advocate for greater UAP transparency from the government.
In this case,
Good.
that would be the stigma associated with UAP whistleblowing. Gold, Schellenberger, Elizondo, and Gallaudet all decried the alleged culture of silence and fear that prevented further study of UAPs. In particular, Gold noted that, quote, the stigma prevents scientific inquiry, the best tool that we have to understand anomalies, from being fully applied, end quote.
Members
Do you see? See upside down heart? Clearly a sign of aggression and destruction. The eradication of love.
of the NASA UAP independent study team, particularly those in academia, were mocked and even threatened for simply having the temerity to engage in the study of UAP.
Yeah, but but why sexy McDonald? Whoa, what? What I was saying was what no, I was saying on a serious, I was going to say on a serious note, and then this came up. On a serious note, I think that everything he's saying is absolutely right. Like, people shouldn't be mocked and ridiculed or threatened just because they're trying to speak up about this stuff. That's a great. So what?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Okay, go subscribe to them if you want. Sexy Ronald McDonald, I guess. Let's get back to this. Okay.
Number 1, Moskowitz versus Elizondo.
I'm a recovering lawyer, so I'm going to put my hat on for a second. You said you signed a document. Love that. Who gave that to you?
The U.S. government, sir.
Okay, you have a copy of it?
It is stored in a SCIF right now. I do not have possession of it. The U.S. government does.
What department of the U.S. government gave you this document?
I will say the Department of Defense. Unfortunately, I can't say in this forum much more than that.
Overall, members of the public who were hung.
So Mr. Moskowitz seems a bit more skeptical. And see, this is where I'd want to watch more. I want to watch more of this to understand. I'd be curious to hear more about his skepticism.
For drama or earth-shattering revelations may have left the hearing disappointed. The general tone was cordial, and everyone involved spoke their mind without any great...
Oh, DB says I watched the whole thing. Nice. I honestly would like to watch the whole thing. Yeah, Marxist needs to go deeper than the Watch Mojo treatment. I agree. It's just 2.5 hours. We couldn't do a whole I mean, I guess we could, but...
Resistance from the congressional panel. However, this is with the notable exception of what threatened to be a heated exchange between Luis Elizondo and Florida House Representative Jared Moskowitz.
You specifically said the document said you can't talk about crash retrieval. Well, you know, you can't talk about Fight Club if there's no Fight Club.
The document said you can't talk about crash retrieval. You can't talk about Fight Club if there is no Fight Club. Is he inferring or implying that the retrieval program might not exist? Because he's saying, oh, you say that you can't talk about the retrieval program. Then he says, well, you can't talk about Fight Club if there is no Fight Club. I'm not what, are you guys understanding what he's saying? Is he implying that the retrieval program might not exist? Like, well, you can't talk about it if it doesn't exist? That doesn't really, I don't know if I really understand. The thing you can't talk about must exist? I'm not exactly sure. You can't talk about Fight Club. I'm not exactly sure what no rules for measuring. Let me hear what he's saying again. He's saying you can't do something. You can't not. So he might be an alien. Yes. I want to hear that again.
Well, you know, you can't talk about, it said you can't talk about crash retrieval. Well, you know, you can't talk about Fight Club if there's no Fight Club.
You can't talk about Fight Club if there's no. It's straight sarcasm. This is going over my head. I don't know what he means. Anyway, if it doesn't exist, he has nothing to talk about. Well, that's what I took it. Yeah. I took it as him meaning that it doesn't exist, but I think some of you in the chat are saying he's being sarcastic. Oh, Sarah says exactly the reason why you can't talk about Fight Club is only because there is a Fight Club. We couldn't talk about Neogenesis if it didn't exist. The only reason why you can't talk about Fight. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think I see what you guys are saying. He's saying if that's his point, he worded it very strange. Yeah, he worded that very, very strangely. So I think what you guys are saying that he's saying you can't, if something, he can't talk about it because it exists. If it didn't exist, then he could talk about it. I mean, he wouldn't because it didn't exist. But I think that that's the point. They're basically saying if you sign that you can't talk about something, well, then that something very likely exists, or why else would you have to sign a thing? I think the Fight Club reference is very strange, but I think you guys are right. So thank you. Yeah. Anyway, let's get. I don't know. You up to interpretation, but I think that you guys are right. I think.
Retrieval. You specifically said the document said you can't talk about crash retrieval. Well, you know, you can't talk about Fight Club if there's no Fight Club.
Correct.
Okay, I'm just making an observation.
The congressman jokingly referred to himself as a, quote, recovering lawyer before pressing Elizondo on the documents that would guarantee his silence. At one point, a comparison to the 1999 film Fight Club caused the chamber to burst into laughter. Refreshingly, the exchange never devolved into mudslinging or name-calling, an outcome that seems almost unfathomable in 2024.
You're not some conspiracy theorist. You actually have a legitimate background.
Well, sir, I'm certainly not a conspiracy theorist. I'm fact-based, just say facts.
So when you're in this room, I want to paint the picture for everybody. You're in this room, you're by yourself, you're in a skiff, you're handed a document. How long is the document?
It's about a page front and back.
What do you think will come of unidentified?
I want to see more of this. I want to see more of that exchange. Was he trying to catch him out to see like, oh, if he's lying, maybe he'd take a minute to try and to describe it. I want to see, I'm curious about this exchange. Interesting. Interesting. I want to watch this whole thing.
Identified anomalous phenomena exposing the truth. Let us know in the comments below.
If there's no further business without objection, the subcommittee stands adjourned.
Okay, so I think that that's it as far as the highlights go. So really interesting. I am inclined to think that there is something going on. Of course, we have to be skeptical. It could all be bullshit, but I'm inclined to think that I think that there's enough testimony by people with a lot of credibility that there's something happening. What exactly that is, I think still remains to be seen. But I will say that a lot of this is quite compelling. So I would say, like, let's continue to look into this with an open mind while staying rational. And I want to see more of this video, to be honest. There's a lot of, especially like that last exchange. I'm very curious about it. So maybe, I don't know if I'll watch the video by myself or if you guys want to stream, maybe going into the detail more. Let me know. Tell me in the comments if you want a stream perhaps about the whole video or at least larger chunks of the video. And tell me what you thought in general in the comments. I think that it's, very, very interesting. My interest has peaked for sure. I mean, it was last year in the congressional hearing. And quite honestly, it's surprising to me that more people aren't talking about this. It was surprising to me last time that not very many people were talking about this. It's surprising to me that not very many people are talking about it this time as well. But anyway, you guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Stick around because we're going to be doing a giveaway. And I want to give a shout out to everyone who supports. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you all, especially Renaissance Fairy, Cassidy, Angela, DB, Nusalina, Dallas, Digital Tech, David, LaDonna, Grace, Kira, and everyone else. Thank you very much.